Hello and welcome to another episode of Mopo, where we discuss matters of personal opinion. It's all Mopo, it's all matter of personal opinion. Find us on Twitter at It's All Mopo. I'm Rob. You can find me at The Scientist on Twitter, and I'm sitting here with my good buddy Dave. You can find him at DaveRoach83 on Twitter. We just got done watching episode 7 of Preacher, season 1, because they didn't got season 2 yet. Not yet, but I'm hoping.
I mean, I'm hoping too. I kind of want to be like, yeah, you know there's going to be a season 2.
There has to be a season 2, but
like,
we know how the TV companies are. They will drop a show in a second.
Like, I can't sit here and tell you off the top of my head if there's anything actually greenlit, or are they filming, or because obviously...
Or if Seth Rogen's even going to be involved in the second season?
Yeah, like, does he... I mean, I would hope so, because he fought so hard to get this made.
Well, not to mention, like, the years prior before he picked it up.
Yeah, like,
all the people who tried to get this on TV.
The show has been a long time coming.
And Seth Rogen did adapt the entire season, right? It wasn't like Kevin Smith with Reaper, where he only did the first episode?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I honestly, when the news came out that Seth Rogen was involved with this, I was just hoping he wasn't going to make himself the preacher. That's the only thing I couldn't escape that out of my brain. Like, he's a funny dude. But
that doesn't make you a preacher.
Yeah, how is that going to translate into preacher? Even him having anything to do with it.
I mean, he's a good writer. Him and that dude,
but yeah, no, I mean,
are great writers, because they're the ones who wrote, the end.
This is the end.
That movie was so hilarious. They wrote This Is the End. They wrote The Pineapple Express. They wrote all those movies together.
They wrote Sausage Party too.
Well, yeah.
Wow.
No doubt they wrote Sausage Party.
Yeah, I mean, but once again, those are comedies, though.
Well, that's what I mean.
This show is not a comedy. Like, there are some comedic tones. Like, I think
Cassidy mainly.
Cassidy is
he's the only comedic tone so far.
Yeah, like, I mean, if you want to be a dick and laugh at Eugene or whatever, but even that's not really funny. He's a little bit funny the way he talks. Maybe King Cannon, just because he's fucking so crazy.
But even not in a funny way. It's like in a grotesque, like...
He's a weird dude. If
anything, like, I'm feeling, like, so bad for the sheriff in this episode, too.
Yeah.
Because, like, he snapped at Eugene. Like, I mean, we're kind of really getting on this, not how we've been doing the last couple ones. But, yeah, man, like, I felt so bad for the sheriff. Because
you can tell, like, he's like a lost dog.
Yeah, like, he doesn't know what to do with it. Like, even though Eugene's causing such a problem for him, like, not even directly, but just indirectly by association with his son, because of what his son did, which we actually get confirmation in this episode as to what actually happened, because it is different than what happened in the comics.
Yes, very much.
But, so, I mean, let's get started then from the beginning. Like, we basically pick right up, not from exactly where the last one left off, but like a scene before the last one left off, right where Jesse sends Eugene to hell. It's as he's turning around to try to be like, oh, what just happened? And you just see like a pamphlet float to the ground.
And it's funny because I misremembered it, but maybe I'm remembering from, there's 3 episodes left. Maybe this scene happens in one of those 3 episodes. But I feel like they showed him kind of get taken down, but I guess maybe I just wanted to see it.
Yeah.
But like they didn't actually show him get taken down. They just see the paper floating down like we saw from last week.
Yeah, and then you kind of pan up, and then Cassidy's just sitting up the stairs, and he's just like, "What the fuck was that?"
There's a balcony section above the door of the church.
Kind of like normally where the choir or the pianist would normally be, like in a bigger church. That's usually where the the organ would be. In this particular church, it just seems to be kind of like extra seating or viewing, where the organ is actually up front, where Emily bangs on it.
Well, that's not even organ, that's a straight up piano.
Yeah, that was just, But you get what I mean.
Regardless, this dude's just sitting there, like, chilling, like...
Oh, damn.
And it's he just saw that happen.
Yeah.
It's like,
and for Cassidy to be surprised, knowing who and what he is, for him to be in shock and awe.
A couple 100-year-old vampires just got freaked out.
Yeah, this is some dirty black magic.
Some stuff. So what? Jesse basically goes through his sermon.
And
right?
and at the end, Sheriff comes up to him.
And Sheriff comes in. Okay, hold on.
And he brushes him off so quick. Hey, have you seen Eugene? Nah. Let me just go back to talking to all these people.
Do you think... Alright, so the very beginning, we see him, and he turns around. I get the feeling that he thinks Eugene, ran off. Or something. Do you think he feels that he sent Eugene to hell? At that moment.
At that particular moment, I feel like I don't want to say it in absolutes, but for lack of not being able to put it together, in my head, I think he knows what he did, but he's in such disbelief that he immediately throws himself in denial.
Yeah,
there's because he knows when he uses the voice.
Yeah.
He knows he used the voice. So when he turns around, he knows he sent Eugene to hell, but I feel like there's a big part of his head, his brain, where he's just there's no way I did that. I didn't mean to do that, so there's no way I did that, so I didn't do it.
Because his facial expression changes from wonderment and what's going on to just to start, no way, that kid ran away or something.
He immediately blocked it out of his ability to understand.
Cassidy seeing what happened.
And even them two get into the argument too. I didn't send nobody to hell.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They have the sermon. And Jesse's acting weird. Because at this point the power's really going to his head. And he's walking around like he is.
Well, he just thinks he's doing all this good.
He thinks at this point he's doing God's work. And he's just out of control.
And he keeps using the excuse if I'm doing wrong, why the hell would God let me continue to do it? They keep suggesting that God would stop him, which I think further justifies or further confirms the fact that God really isn't in the picture anymore.
Right.
Because he's doing all this out. Well, for us.
For us. Right,
but also kind of a foreshadowing for the TV show itself. There's always this mention. Well, if God didn't like it, they'd strike me down, and it's
we've talked about it before, where people are look, God's not answering me. Where's God? If God,
that hasn't been confirmed yet, but I think it just further reinforces the idea that God's not around anymore. As much as Jesse tries to imply he is, as almost a way to just justify what he's doing. I think even Jesse has kind of an inkling that God's not around anymore, but it's just an easy out. It's an easy
ongoing theme.
Yeah.
So that seems to be the recurring, kind of the sub-theme that they got going on. What's going on with God? So he goes through...
It's putting, the question in the back of your head, they keep saying this, so where is God?
Yeah, what is really going on? So he goes through the sermon, he's acting funny, and he's, saying goodbye to everybody, and... The sheriff, like he said, the sheriff comes out. He acts like nothing's wrong,
and he's sitting during the sermon. The sheriff is sitting by himself with a hat, saving the place for Eugene, and he's just looking like you said, just so where's Eugene at? Where's my son? Almost kind of like he's going through this remorse of how he acted towards Eugene in the episode before. You know, where he's just like, why don't you finish the job? You know, like he just let his frustrations get to him, and now he's just kind of like overwhelmed with guilt. You know, he doesn't. You know, he doesn't like how
things. He's like scared that
he pushed his son away.
Right. Like he finally went too far with it, and it's scary because he already told these stories to these angels about kids going missing and what happens when kids go missing.
Yeah, so that's already in the back of his own head.
So you live by the scary child story, you die by the scary child story, or whatever.
Even though Eugene's a little older than these kids that they're talking about, but still, I mean, everybody in the town hates your son. It's not too far-fetched to believe, somebody just napped him up.
So does it then, if I remember right, it leads into, from there, Jesse and...
Well, no, from there it pans over like I guess the miniature Alamo with
King Cannon listening to the animals getting slaughtered.
Yeah, and that's all it is. It just pans through his little miniature
his
structure.
Favorite music in the world. This guy's sitting in the window just listening to
cattle be slaughtered,
animal slaughter,
and I think it's like a live feed from his own factory.
Yeah.
And he's because he's just like, oh, what's going on at work today? And it's just like, what the hell? But yeah, and he don't say nothing either. It's just kind of giving you. And this isn't the first time we've heard him listen to this. Since day one, he's just been sitting here listening to that intercom, and that's all that happens. It's just it pans through. Like, what was that? Was that a Civil War model?
That was a model of the Alamo.
That was the model of the Alamo.
That him and Jesse have been working on.
Okay,
maybe he's been working on it. Maybe Jesse offered to help with it, or
so it just kind of pans over that, and then it goes right into. Like him staring at the window, just like, yeah, I love the sound of slaughter. And then it just cuts straight to young Jesse and young Tulip in, I guess, grade school. And they had just gotten into a fight.
Oh, okay.
And, Jesse's dad, the current preacher, is all, so you're getting into fights, and Jesse's... No, like he was making fun of Tulip, and Tulip defended herself, and apparently she bit this kid's nipple straight off, and they played it off like, oh no, she was just biting his shirt and didn't realize that her mouth slipped. Her mouth slipped,
and he's sitting there explaining everything for Tulip, and she's just like, uh-huh.
Yeah, she's just like, yeah, whatever.
Doing all the talking, and you didn't even do nothing. Tulip is the one who's wilding out. But
at the same time, I feel like even Jesse then knows that if Tulip was to explain for herself, she would have lost her cool and implemented herself as guilty almost immediately.
He's helping her out. I'm not saying he's not helping her out. I just think it's funny.
Oh, yeah.
They act like Tulip can't explain stuff for herself.
Well, I think in a way she can. Because she would lose her temper again if she tried to explain it. But
that's not how they would ever go down for school with me.
Oh, no, because it would always be like, no.
They would be separating us and getting all our different stories.
Yeah, and then they'd be like, well, you told a story and you told a different story.
They like, good copy, bad copy. He told on me, right?
Oh, man.
For really told him, well, that's what he did.
Yeah. And then turning you against each other. But this is oldie times. This is a small town.
And then what? Do they go right from that to like the nighttime where like?
Well, from that, like he's like, all right, let's go, Jesse. We're leaving, and he, gets his dad to bring Tulip with them to like take care of her, and the dad's all reluctant, like, where's your mom? And she says something like
in jail,
and then it's like, well, where's your uncle? Oh, well, he's drunk.
Which we know these people already. We know her mom.
Yeah, we know. It's just reiterating it some more, and
letting them know, like, okay, even as a young child, like, this is what this girl's been going through her whole life. Like, this is nothing new.
So, like, Jesse's like, come on, let her stay with us, and he does, and he lets her stay with him, and like Jesse's praying and he's all thankful that his dad is a good man and, you know, letting Tulip stay with him and this and that.
And that's when Tulip comes into the bed with him and talk about like.
Well, no, that's like later in the episode.
Okay.
Yeah, from there it goes from like him praying to Tulip running through the backyards, and we're like, oh, well, what's she doing? And then she's like hopping fences and gates and like jumping over cars and stuff, and then she kind of
like some real Ferris Bueller type stuff.
Oh, very Ferris Bueller. Like he's trying to get there, but she's trying to get there before the parents do. But
it was like all going through my head the whole time. It's like she might. All they had to do was have like two guys like sunbathing or something. She starts saying, "Hey, you know,
what's going on?
I'm Tulip. How you doing?" And then keep going or whatever.
But and then we realize that the whole reason she's doing this is to like jack up some kids on bikes. But then like we find out very quickly like they stole some property from her uncle, which ended up being his pants. Dude, and she surprises this kid and rips him to the ground.
Yeah, it's funny because she does. She drags the kid to the ground, right? But I so wish she just would have like sickled him, just like stuck her arm out and held that kid by his neck.
Because it was all over. The second he hit the ground, he just like, oh, you got me, and then hands over the pants, and it's just like, yo, like, yeah, right to the jaw. Just one quick one.
Right, because they know Tulip, and they know they don't mess with Tulip. Like, as soon as they saw who it was, that they didn't even fight with her, they just gave her the pants. Like, Tulip ain't nothing new, like, to them. Like, these kids, it's obviously a game. It's not the first time they took.
And then the whole neighborhood is against them, too, because when Tulip goes back and she's trying to get her uncle back into the house, and he's not budging, like, he's way wasted. And, like, people are driving by and walking by and just staring at her in disgust, shaking their head, like...
Well...
and I'm sitting there like, the dude's passed out on his own property.
What got me was...
Leave him a hell alone.
The neighbor across the street was just straight ice grilling all the time, just straight eyeball to eyeball.
Like, she wasn't outside for any reason other than to give dirty looks at them.
Like, it's like... Lady, I know, like, you see this probably every day. And it's like, what do you think Tulip is supposed to do?
Right? She's doing everything she can. She keeps the dude fed. She keeps the dude, like, healthy and alive to the best of her ability.
Dude, I thought that dude was dead so many times over.
Really?
In this, yeah, I really thought he, like, especially when...
He's like the dude on the couch, except he's not always on the couch.
Like, the first episode or so, like, when Jesse's like doing his rounds and he goes and checks on the uncle.
Oh yeah.
And he sees like Tulip is actually there.
And he's like,
in the shower, and he bolts.
Oh yeah, and he's all like, oh, thanks for the heads up. Like, you know, he probably didn't even know she was there either. He probably wasn't awake since last night.
I thought he was dead there, and there's been a couple other times, you know, during this, you know, season that I thought that her uncle was dead. It would not have surprised me.
But yeah, so from there it's we go to Cassidy confronts Jesse, and that's when we find out, you know, that he actually. Well, we knew, like we're not sitting here thinking he ran away like Jesse did.
And honestly, that doesn't happen in the comic.
Oh no, yeah. Like that's why I'm totally thrown off.
Like, this is some crazy stuff because, like, I don't know what they're gonna do with this character. But him being in hell is not what happened in the comic at all.
Yeah, like later on in the comics, he becomes he dons himself a villain, and he kind of like accepts and kind of like you know, takes on the name of Arseface, and he's just like, yeah, I am Arseface, you know, like the preacher's worst enemy. But even that takes a while. I think even that's like in the third or fourth book.
Yeah, like, so they and
he's just like, no, you sent that kid to fucking hell.
Well, it's that.
Jesse's like, nope. But he's just like, what do you think happened? You sent the dude to hell.
Cassidy at this point is at his wit's end. Because he's noticed the change in the preacher in the last couple... I don't know what the timeline... In the last week, we'll say, on the show, like, in the timeline...
Yeah, that makes sense.
He's noticed, like, the preacher's going crazy. Or whatever. He's way out of line with his shit. And then he sees them freak out on this kid. And basically he's like, what are we going to do about the kid? He said, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, no, what are we going to do about the kid? I seen what you did. Or whatever. And, so on and so forth.
Your accent's thicker than his.
I taught you no, don't you know? But
yeah, and he's just so like nonchalant about it, like whatever, I'm not worried about that. I got a sermon to do at the church.
I think that does dawn on him, like, damn, dude.
Well, it just really confirms it. Like he can't deny it anymore.
Yeah. But I think the whole time Emily is standing there. Maybe she comes in on that last part.
Oh yeah, because we don't know how long she's been standing there.
She's standing there like looking all. I'm sorry, she's cute, man. She's sitting there looking all cute, being all nosy. If I were a preacher, I would have gave it to her a long time ago. But whatever.
Yeah, well, maybe preacher sees something that we don't. Because there's a reason why he's not tagging.
Well, you got tulip or whatever. But whatever. Me. I'd be on that. Emily.
But Emily.
Emily on the show.
Oh yeah.
At Dave Roach on Twitter. But
so Emily gets preacher to leave the room, and that's when kind of Tulip walks in the other door and starts with groceries.
Tulip got groceries, and it is funny because they make fun of her too,
I didn't like the fact that they were making fun because I'm sitting. Yeah, because
later Jesse makes fun of her. She got this. It's she's gonna make dinner meatloaf or something. I guess she got hash browns and
frozen hash browns, frozen vegetables, and Cassie's all "Oh, you got frozen vegetables, huh?"
Oh, look at you!
And I'm
frozen vegetables.
And I'm sitting here looking at my own freezer, what the fuck's wrong with frozen vegetables?
You're sitting there looking at that shit like she's about to prepare. Yeah, girl, come my house.
I'm yo, Tulip, I'm all about whatever you're doing. Frozen vegetables? What other kind of vegetables are there?
Whatever you gotta make, girl, come over to my house and make it. But
yeah, so
but I think it's not so much Cassidy, but maybe because Cassidy's so old, he's also old fashioned. She's not that homemaker. You think those frozen peas are gonna make you a housewife all of a sudden, and you be making dinner and your dinner to you ain't just Kraft macaroni and cheese and hot dogs. I made dinner.
She's trying.
And they're not giving her credit or whatever, I guess. And they're basically getting into Cassidy is in love with this chick. Emily is in love with the preacher.
Yeah.
And he's just I didn't spout off at the mouth. Basically, I could have spouted off at the mouth.
Yeah, and she's all
she's
why?
Good.
Why the fuck would you tell him? And he's all well, because we're best buds. And she's I'm her girlfriend, and I don't tell him everything. Why are you telling him everything? And he's just wait, why aren't you telling him everything?
Right.
If you're his girlfriend, why are you not telling him everything?
And Tulip's cold, man, because I feel for Cassie because he's well, we made love.
Oh, and she laughed in his face.
She's no, we didn't.
We made love? What the hell's wrong with you?
Right.
And maybe you didn't notice my lack of any kind of emotion whatsoever.
I don't think you did. I think that was for our benefit. But she wasn't moaning for him or nothing. I'm telling you, dude, if I'm railing a chick I'm sorry, Mopo, explicit content.
Whatever, turn this shit the fuck off and go bite a pillow.
I'm railing a chick like that. He was banging that chick and she's not moaning or looking back at me or nothing. I'm yo, bitch, is this not working for you or something?
Right, I've been getting all self-conscious, am I doing this right?
Because I'm railing this right now and you're not doing nothing. But, so that's on him a little bit, but still, she's pretty cold. And they just basically get into it oh, well, she calls him out, you don't tell him everything, you tell him what you are.
And he's yeah, I told him 9 different times.
No, but he did, though.
No, he implied it.
No, he told him he was a vampire.
No, that's true.
And that people were chasing him. But Jesse was so drunk, probably.
Oh, that's right, because the first couple times he did do it, he was drinking, Jesse's version of alcohol.
Yeah.
And that's when he, asses out for a whole day. And that's when we first encountered the angel. Yeah, so he's definitely told him, but not to sober Jesse.
Right, maybe just in a way that he could convince himself, hey, well, I told him If he don't want to believe me, that's on him.
Or he told him, but it was in such a way that, like, Jesse, because Jesse's been on absolutely nothing but the church and keeping that promise to his dad.
Yeah.
The church and keeping that promise to his dad. I gotta save the town. Oh, you're a vampire? Good for you, I guess. Didn't you hear? I gotta save the town.
Right, fix the AC in the church.
Yeah. Like, he don't got any time for anything but what he's doing. So, yeah, he definitely did tell him, but what is it? So, like, Jesse and Cassidy end up walking outside, and they talk more about the Eugene. Wait, is that?
No, that's a little bit later on, I think. No, because
because then we go to young Tulip and Jesse, because that's when that's when they were like roughhousing, and then the dad comes in. He's like, "You got your homework done?" And they're both like, "Yeah." And he's like, "All right, well, dishes ain't gonna wash themselves."
Right now, he says it in a funnier way though. He's like, "Oh, so dishes do themselves, right?"
Yeah, so now they're washing dishes, and Tulip kind of overhears something going on in the dad's room, but like we don't really know what it is, but like we find out pretty quickly a little bit later. What is it?
Well, no. What happens is they
child services come and take Tulip.
But before that, like it takes them the next day to come over, so she still spends the night there, and they touch on like a stronger theme in the comics, but it could be like a strong theme coming forward on
just
the show.
Not fully developed yet.
Yeah, like till the end of the world.
Oh yeah, that's because I mean this comic does take us to some really outrageous places in the universe.
What is it? Was it 9 or 10 full graphic novels?
I think it's 9 full graphic novels.
So, it's a lot of single issue comics, and it's a wide world that we're going to experience.
Yeah, we're only touching the tip of the iceberg.
Even really begun. To me, this season,
this is all
a prequel season, to what we're going to see, in the comics.
Like, this is what we're basically seeing what they reminisce about at the beginning.
Yeah.
As what happened in the past to bring them to where they are now. But we're actually seeing it in real time.
Right.
So,
and we talked about that before.
Yeah.
But
I was all like, it's not a prequel. Yeah. And I'm kind of like, yeah, maybe it is kind of a prequel.
It's definitely, developing into a prequel. So, we're going to see, these characters get pushed to the limits of their worlds,
very much so.
Their worlds and their minds. It should be pretty wild, but I just thought it was kind of cute, even at the beginning of their relationship. Even at an early age, they still had that bond from the beginning.
Oh yeah, they've always got each other's backs, and that's evident just in the way that Jesse defends her.
I thought it was such a cool It kind of shows, when they're doing the dishes and stuff, Tulip knows her way around this kitchen. She knows this
She basically
place.
grew up there.
Yeah, since she was a young child. So if anybody is not an out, she's more than Emily or Cassidy, because she's already been there and already knows all this stuff. But it's almost as like she's presented as the outsider.
Which is hilarious, too, because it's like, how does someone like Emily not even know about Jesse and Tulip's relationship?
Right.
It's kind of like, it's something that she says, Emily says at the end, but it's just kind of like, she touches on where it's like, oh, ever since you come back, I've always believed in you, and I'm so happy you came back. So it's like she's aware of the fact that he used to be there.
Yeah, he was.
But it's like nobody's going to acknowledge Tulip's existence.
Yeah.
Like she's like the black sheep of the whole town.
Yeah. And they are, though. I guess that makes sense, because anytime you mention an O'Hare, trouble.
Which is exactly bringing us back to where we left off about child services coming the next day. And young Jesse is losing his mind, trying to break into the car.
As he should, he's assaulting basically assaulting the child service lady, ripping her arms away. And,
yeah. And he's asking his dad why? Why would you do it? She didn't do nothing. She was well behaved the whole time.
Yeah, she didn't act up or
which
nothing.
is
true.
Which is like unusual for her, yeah. But if you look at it, if she's remains in a broken home, well, like anybody, like you can even look at this in today's world. If you're in a broken home and you're given no opportunities, you're going to lash out and you're going to do things that you shouldn't do to take control of your life again because you lost so much. And now she's with Jesse and his dad, and it's a home now. It's something worth keeping.
Stable.
Yeah, so there's no reason to act out. I don't want to lose this.
Right.
So I'm going to behave. And Jesse's dad is all like, well, she's an O'Hare. They trouble. And it's just like, that's like you said, that's name racist.
Yeah, it's name racism. Honestly, my name is Roach. I know far too well. But no, and it's sad because like that is probably one of the last straws for Tulip in where she trusts the men.
Well, minus Jesse. Because
but Jesse's not men to her.
Yeah, like, Jesse's more like, the brother that became the boyfriend.
Right. I never felt like they had that brother-sister bond. I've always felt it was more, you could tell, but she trusted his dad.
Family at the least.
Yeah. More than just friends.
Yeah, she didn't like his dad, but she definitely seemed to have at least trust that he would do the right thing.
Right, this guy's going to give me a chance. And like you say, we can be a family. And she overhears what we don't hear, but she hears what he has to say. And she's like, you know what? Because rewatching it, I see the behavior now. But when I first watched it, I'm like, why is she just taking this? Why is she just walking away and just getting in the car, no words, not even looking at Jesse, nothing. She seems very calm and decided, well, this is what's going to happen. And she's not fighting it at all. And I'm like, why is she not fighting it? Because she gave up. She was like, you know what? These people nobody believes in me but Jesse. We have no power in anything.
Yeah, you're just a kid.
Broken by that last hope she had that was dashed.
Oh man, and Jesse, that was the last straw for Jesse too, because what does he do? He goes right inside and prays, please take care of Tulip, keep her safe, make sure she's taken care of, I want her to, be well, and just slips it right in at the end. Oh yeah, and by the way, kill my dad. Send that asshole straight to hell. He didn't say asshole, but it was in his tone. Send my dad to hell. Kill him. It's and hearing that and knowing what happens later on in the episode, which we'll touch on, it gives it why Jesse is so gung-ho about keeping this promise.
Yeah.
Because he's accepting fault for what happens to his dad, which it comes up a couple scenes later. But from there, we jump to Quincannon confronting Jesse.
Yeah, this dude comes to his house.
And he's just
he was not in church.
Yeah, he wasn't in church.
Was not in church. And he, and you know what, I'm going to do a little bit of spoiler here. Quincannon believes in a meat god.
A meat god.
In the god of meat.
The god of meat.
That's what he believes in. So that's how he's able to get away with doing the word. He told him to serve God.
Yeah, he should have said serve Jesus Christ or something.
Dude, Jesse don't know how crazy this motherfucker is.
Like I said in episode 1, be careful what you wish for. It's that shit. It's the law of the genie. You can't be coming out with generalizations thinking that everybody's on the same page.
So he basically tells this dude serve God. He thinks he got him hooked or whatever. And, and he's all listen,
oh yeah, he goes, oh yeah, well, I finished placing those last few soldiers on the Alamo recreation, and Jesse's like, oh, that's great, blah, 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 and they're talking like they're best friends, and then all of a sudden, Quincannon starts reminiscing like, oh, there's a meat packing plant in South America, and they do like 5 million heads of cattle a year. And he's like, 5 million heads of cattle. They say you can hear it all the way down to the
river end.
Yeah, the river end. And I'm like, this dude is mental. And then he starts talking about how, he wants to reclaim his birthright because right now his meatpacking plant isn't doing as many heads as cattle as his father's plant did in a month. Like, he's doing less in a year than what his dad was able to do in a month and what his granddad was able to do in a week.
Okay, so hold on. Let's pause, Quincannon. Maybe you're killing all the cows, dude.
Right? Yeah, right?
Maybe you're not producing them quick enough.
Maybe you need to get some cows and bulls together.
We know a dude who works at a dairy farm. We can help you out. Like, he can...
And the thing I didn't understand is it's like... It's just like the oil company is now. The oil company is like barely... Mopo, please don't shoot me in my sleep, and come get me because I'm outing, I'm trashing the oil companies because they're so much of a dinosaur. They don't realize that they're investing in a ancient way that's going to end pretty soon,
right.
And they're just desperately hanging on to their money. Oh, we invested so much, we can't let it go downhill. Oh, it doesn't make sense to invest into anything else because we won't yield as much.
And that's exactly what Quincannon is.
That's exactly what Quincannon is doing.
And then people try to come in and help him out, or like help out the town and like try to diversify.
He was like, "No, I take care of this town."
So his plan on reclaiming his
birthright
is, I'm going to take that church now.
Because this whole time we're like, oh, he became a good Christian. And that's what Jesse even says. He's like, oh, I thought, that deal is void. You became a good Christian. He looked at him like, you know damn well I ain't a Christian.
He said,
if anybody should know that I'm not a Christian, it's you. And he's like, but you said you'd follow God. And he's like, I don't follow your God.
No, he just said, like...
Oh, no, he doesn't say that there.
No, like, he said something along the lines like, like I did or I am or something like that. Like,
oh yeah, he kind of like
side swipes
like
that,
like smirking a little bit, like I am following God, but we don't know who his God is right now.
Right, and like so I kind of spoiled it for y'all, but like he's gonna come out his neck with like some, later on I worship the meat god, but so like he basically, and just like no, like that wasn't the agreement. And like D-Man's like, no, it's agreement. Just like, well, after your agreement, I don't care what agreement we made. I'm not giving you my daddy's church. And Jesse's right, because he sat there in front of everybody in the church and Quincannon lost that bet. But you want to sit there and play games or whatever, so you think you're going to strong arm Jesse on some word of mouth. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's basically like, they're reciting famous lines from like the Battle of the Alamo.
Yeah, and it basically culminates to the last phrase, which Jesse actually finishes for Quincannon, which is victory or death. And Quincannon just kind of looks at Jesse and he's like, yep. That's right, victory or death. And then he just kind of walks out like, yo, this dude is going to basically fight to the death to get this property, which who knows why? Like, I don't even think this is something they touched on in the books. Like,
no, not at all. I think it's just
it's just a more catalyst.
Yeah, more room to kill more cattle.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking he wanted the lands for.
That's all I think it is.
Just so he can raise more cattle and have more death in his slaughterhouse. Like it's so twisted. But he kind of just walks out, and Jesse doesn't pay any mind to it.
Is that when we go to dinner?
Yeah, that's when we're kind of back at dinner.
Cassie's sitting there talking trash about like movies and like Coen brother movies.
Which is so funny. He's like, oh, I never saw that movie. And he's just like, well, I mean, honestly, you just got to see The Big Lebowski, and and it's like the dude abides, right?
And he's just talking about like some other Coen brothers films, and like he hates the Big Lebowski. He thinks it's a bad movie.
Cassidy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he hates it. He doesn't think it's a good movie at all. And he's like, oh, there's like, this movie.
Because he's more like Fargo and oh, damn, I used to have so many different Coen Brother movies. Raising Arizona.
Right, this type of guy. He's, he's pointing out what he believes are good Coen Brother movies. And they were talking, and Jesse has been like, it's dawned on him that he is messing up now. Like, he really did something horrible with this power now. And he's like, I think it's like churning. He's thinking about this promise. He's thinking about his dead daddy. He's thinking about this power. Like,
thinking about Eugene.
What he just did to Eugene. And it's not right. And what is he going to do? And, like, he's just been in his own world. And then Tulip she's like, what's wrong, dude? And he's just like, leave it alone, girl.
And then here comes the sheriff walking in.
And once again, like, somebody's just interrupting. Like, people like to stand around while other people are talking.
Yeah, like,
on conversation.
Like, how are people just walking into other people's houses? Like, yeah, it's a small town. We all know each other. There's no privacy going on.
Well, I will say, if I'm the sheriff, I'll do whatever I want.
Well, I mean, to an extent.
So he rolls up in. He's sitting there, like, listening on the conversation.
Yeah, and he's just like,
and Emily knows that she probably thinks Preacher killed Eugene at this point.
Which is even crazier because she kind of backs him up.
Right. Well, she loves this dude. So, like,
but I
basically,
think Sheriff is there because he didn't get any answers from Preacher the first time, because Preacher did just kind of brush him off. And so
I don't even think he was really like. I think he's more generally asking everybody in the crowd, hey, has anybody seen Eugene?
Oh, like, I'm still looking for him. Has anybody seen him since the last time I came around?
And I think even at this point, when we see him, he's just trying to...
He looks even more distraught.
Well, yeah, this is hours later, dude.
This is where I get the lost puppy feeling. Is this
he's
moment.
starting to get really, really upset. And Emily even makes up a backstory for, like, creates an alibi.
Yeah, it's like, oh, well, you did see Eugene, and then Preacher's like, what the fuck you just say? Like, and then she goes, oh, but I'm pretty sure I did see him leave afterwards.
Yeah.
Because Jesse is like, he doesn't even know what to say. He's like, what? I saw Eugene? I don't remember seeing Eugene. Yeah, of course you saw Eugene. Remember I sent him in after you told me not to? What? Oh yeah, but that's right. I saw him leave. Don't worry, Preacher. I saw him leave. Oh, wiping sweat off his brow like, right. Oh, good, I ain't got to explain shit.
So it goes from, well, I guess Preacher helps, Sheriff out, and he turns around, right, and Cassie, like, cracks him in the face with the fire extinguisher.
Well, no. We Sheriff leaves, and then like Jesse goes outside to, I guess, smoke a cig or whatever, and like calm down.
Right.
And then Cassidy follows out and just cracks him in the nose with the fire extinguisher.
Cassidy's done with this now.
Yeah, Cassidy is like, you sent that kid to fucking hell. The fuck is wrong with you? You're out of place. You're out of line. You need to come to terms with this.
What are we going to do?
That's what he keeps saying. What are we going to do? We got to help him. And Jesse's like, well, what do you want me to do? He's like, how about showing a little remorse for a start? You just sent an innocent man to hell. And then that's when, like I said earlier, that's when we finally find out exactly what Eugene did. Because it is different from the book.
Yeah.
In the book, Eugene is a big fan of Kurt Cobain. Kurt Cobain blows his brains out, and like a lot of kids during that time, he was so distraught, he decided he wanted to go out the same way as his idol, and he botched the shotgun blast to the face. I think he had like birdshot in it or something like that.
I just think, I don't think they go into detail.
Because it wasn't a slug and it wasn't a buckshot. I think it was like birdshot.
Instead of going up, he went forward or something, just basically shot his jaw off instead of shooting through his head.
Yeah.
That kind of deal. I don't know. But
yeah. In this, we find out that he actually was obsessed with, like, the prettiest girl in town, the prom queen, like, this, that, and whatever. Like, everybody loved this girl. And he goes up to her, asks her out, and she rejects him hard. And Eugene, like, being a mental case, I guess, grabs a shotgun and does one of these, if I can't have you, nobody can, and shoots her right in the head, blows off half her head with a shotgun and then takes the shotgun on himself. Botches both of them. Doesn't kill the girl proper, doesn't kill himself proper. And he actually gets away better than both because at least he's able to still think. Where that girl is just a vegetable.
That is the girl that, you know, we've been seeing this whole time who, like, Preacher makes her open up her eyes. The girl's creepy enough.
Yeah.
And then Preacher, let's open up her eyes
Yeah.
and make her not be able to blink now. Oh, she's not a living doll now. She's
Yeah.
not totally creepy.
Yeah, then not only do we have to rub lotion all over her so she looks young, now we gotta drop her eyes every couple hours so they don't dry out and turn into raisins inside of her head.
So, like, Eugene is...
Yeah, so
it's basically like, you know...
So Eugene isn't innocent.
Maybe Eugene's in hell because he deserved to go to hell. It's kind of like where Preacher kind of tries to justify.
Yeah, he tries to throw it out like
and
that.
And Cassidy's like, all right, well, what about me then?
And he's like, well, what about you? Totally disregarding everything that Cassidy has tried to tell him now since then about him. And he's just like, well, you know, like, I'm a foul-mouthed drug abuser, fornicator, adulterer, like, murderer, blah, 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 blah. And he's just like, do I deserve to go to hell? Do I deserve to burn? And you know, Jesse just kind of looks at him all confused. Cassidy throws a fire extinguisher at him. Cassidy takes his shirt and stuff off and just walks into the sun and immediately catches fire, falls to the ground, Tibetan Buddhist style, and just is like engulfed in flames.
Yeah.
And we don't see nothing after that except for Jesse walking back into the kitchen with Tulip and Emily still eating dinner. And he's just slamming the fire extinguisher down, and he's like, did you know? And Tulip's like, yeah, I knew. And he loses it. He's like, get the hell out the house. Like, I ain't got time for you. I can't believe you would keep this from me. Like, damn good, sure. Good thing she didn't tell him about her and Cassidy.
Right.
Because assuming he did put Cassidy out, he probably wouldn't have if he had known that shit. But so Tulip leaves, and then Emily's the last one sitting there, and she's all about herself because she's like, I'm the last one standing. And she's like, ever since you've been back, I've always believed in you. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. You know, I've always believed in you. And he looks her dead in the eyes and is like, what are you stupid?
He's like, well, that's stupid. It's a
and he's like, why don't you get out too?
We don't do that justice right there, but it's pretty funny. Sorry, women of America right there, but that shit was pretty funny.
But yeah, that was pretty wild though. You're stupid for believing.
I honestly think it's one of the best scenes in the whole season when Cassidy sits there and like he just explodes in the sun. Like it's not like a little like
immediately his shoulder explodes in the flame.
Like Johnny Storm and shit.
Yeah. Flame on.
And they make no indication that.
Oh yeah, I'm just assuming he put him out because he comes in with that fire extinguisher. I don't see any like remnants of the extinguisher coming out.
Right.
I don't see him looking like
y'all gotta go help him.
Yeah, or being like, oh,
we gotta help him and nothing.
He's just because even if he puts him out, he's gonna have to drink blood in order to heal himself. So even if Jesse puts him out, how does Cassidy enable himself to heal in a timely fashion? Like, that's kind of what I'm thinking. If he did put him out, what did he consume immediately after, right in front of Jesse's face, that now made Jesse believe, holy shit, this guy's actually a vampire? He might have just not had enough suntan lotion on. That's why he burst into flames. Yeah. You did look a little white, Irishman.
We're actually going to get that answer.
Well, that's cool. But from there it goes back to young Jesse and his dad. His dad tells him to hide under the bed because somebody's breaking into the house.
His dad is like waking him up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, and I believe it's like the same night that Tulip was dragged off during the day. At least that's kind of how it seems. And they beat the living shit out of his dad with a baseball bat. We don't see it, but we hear some really brutal baseball bat sounds.
And honestly, we don't see who's doing this.
Yeah, we don't see anything until like a little bit later, and even then we just see a tattoo on a wrist. And it looks like like almost like a sheriff's star with a skull in the middle or something like that. It's a very weird tattoo. I don't remember that tattoo from the book, but I think they're just putting it there as an icon, so when you see it later, you can go, oh, that's the guy.
And, it gets into, basically the whole reason why Jesse's messed up the way he is now.
Yeah.
His dad tells him to be a good guy. He got to be a good guy because there's too many bad guys.
Too many bad guys. Keep your promise. Save the town. And then he's just like, I'm sorry, I did this. It's all my fault. I prayed for you to die. And as soon as that line came out of his mouth, whoever was holding the gun just blast. Like, y'all are done talking to each other.
And it really threw me off because the dad is a major part, if not beyond the first season. He's a major part of the season at least.
He's
in the comic, he's mentioned like in literally 3 or 4 pages of this comic book, and
specifically because of the scene we just watched.
Yeah.
Because they do have this scene in the comic, but it's
for different reasons,
and like his mom is even there at the same time, and like there's so much more going on. It's so much more demented and grotesque.
Not necessarily more, because there is more going on, but it's just different.
Well, what we see as far as this particular scene.
So like they really give this relationship with his father a bolster on the TV show, and
we do kind of hit upon like back when Cassidy and Tulip, before they're making dinner, and Cassidy's kind of like, he's my best bud and all, and Tulip's like, well, what's his favorite movie star? Like, who can shit gold? And he mentioned, I forget what Cassidy says.
Ryan Phillippe.
Yeah, and Tulip's just like, no, it's John Wayne, and John Wayne is actually like the quote unquote father figure in the comic. Like, whenever he has a moral dilemma and you would expect the father to come through and kind of talk him through a situation, his father comes through as John Wayne, or John Wayne comes through as his father. I don't know how exactly you want to interpret that,
right?
But John Wayne is essentially the father figure after the father is killed.
And that's the first we've really heard mention of John Wayne in his whole TV show.
Exactly. So I feel like that's almost an homage to the comic because we're going to keep the father figure in it.
Maybe.
And I think that's kind of why they do that.
That would make me a little bit, not sad, but it would be a shame, because like the John Wayne character in the comics is pretty cool. Like,
but the John Wayne character, it's like his face is always shadowed out.
But it's still like, I like the way they bring him in every once in a while.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting.
He's always like trying to get him like, come tell you gotta do the right thing, and like, you gotta be a man, and like a man would do this.
Because he kind of sees John Wayne as a real man, so it makes sense that he's like the role model, especially when he loses his dad so young. It makes sense that if he, like a lot of people, they would fall to some other aspect of life to help them cope.
Right.
Well, he started, I guess, watching a lot of John Wayne movies to look towards a father figure. How are men supposed to act?
Right.
And then from there, it's just it cuts immediately to Jesse breaking through a wooden floor. And I'm thinking he's got buried treasure or something, and not even. He's breaking through the floor, clawing at the dirt underneath the floorboard, screaming, "Come back!" in the voice.
And he's using
the word of God. And except
Eugene to come back.
Except he's not talking to Eugene, so he can't say come back.
I don't think Eugene can hear. He's talking to Eugene, but
he's talking. He's quote unquote talking to Eugene, but Eugene's not there to talk to. So
or like I said, Eugene can't hear him.
Well, yeah, Eugene can't hear him. It was so strange because and it's so abrupt too. Like, his dad gets shot in the head when he's little, and then bang, 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 he's breaking through this floorboards, and he's screaming, "Come back!" And then from there it cuts right to this a horde of flashlights shining in the night, and you see that they're like headlamps and flashlights, and then you see people with guns and power tools and like farming equipment. And then you see Donnie wearing his Civil War getup and his broken arm and a cast with a rifle in the other hand. And then you see this bulldozer, and riding on top of the bulldozer like he's fucking, a character from Mad Max is Quinn Cannon.
He's George MacArthur or something.
Yeah, he's just like holding on to the exhaust pipe, which, because the exhaust pipe comes out the top over the engine. That's what I'm thinking. Isn't that thing supposed to be really hot? And he's sitting here grabbing onto it like, yeah, it ain't nothing. And
Seth Rogen, your farm
equipment is not running properly.
Your farm equipment research is faulty, sir.
And it just kind of zooms in on Quinn Cannon, and he's just got this look of determination, like he doesn't say it, but victory or death.
All these people are outside of the church grounds.
Outside, yeah. While he's digging in the floor. So the next scene, or the first scene of the next episode, if they follow how they've been doing, it's either going to start right back with Preacher screaming into the ground, come back, or it's going to start with Kincannon approaching the church and basically getting ready to bulldoze this place, much like he did in one of the first 2 episodes to that older couple, where the bulldozer was right outside. Like,
as soon as they left that room,
somehow all the furniture still ends up outside and in one piece.
Well, no, because they were real convenient about it. They emptied their house for them. They put everything outside, though. They could have got a truck, too, if they're really trying to...
Yeah, but I guess they're kind of like, we demolished the house, but at least you still have your property.
Right.
So, I guess in a way...
And he paid those people, too. It's not like he just...
Yeah, he did.
trying to do them like Jesse and just steal the shit.
Well, technically, he's going out of his way to really hold tight this verbal agreement they had.
Dude, he lost. I'm sorry, man. I'll Mopo that to my brain.
He's not a Christian, though.
But he followed... Oh, man. He really played Jesse on that. He really
Jesse played himself.
No, but
he let that word of God go to his head, and he's just thinking anything that comes out of his mouth is fucking gold. Yeah. He thinks he can do no wrong, and he's learning the hard way and fast that he's fucking up.
Island and Dr. Moreau, when the wolf, dude, goes crazy, he's like, tell them to obey me like they do the Father.
Yeah.
that's what Jesse's reminding me of right now. The crazy wolf, ape dude or whatever from Island and Dr. Moreau. But no, and, there's only 3 episodes left. This episode was really good. They're really starting to dig deep. Get some answers. And I'm telling you, we're gonna see some stuff about Kincannon that you already think this dude's a sicko, and you're gonna see some. It's AMC, so it's not it's gonna be It's
not gonna be as graphic as the novel made it out. Because the novel was holy crap. But we also didn't see this in the novel till book 5.
Yeah, this is early.
This is super early to be outing this aspect of Kincannon.
And oh my god, I'm just gonna say,
we're not gonna, if you read the books, you know what we're talking about. If you're paying attention, you could almost put together, with the last 3 episodes, this one being the 3rd one, you can almost put together exactly what we're talking about. We've laid the evidence out.
Right.
We even in this episode alone, we put the evidence out there.
But no, because there's something that happened to him that we don't know about yet. If you've never read the comics, even if you read the comics and you've just watched the show, and you haven't seen the last 3 episodes, and just up to this episode, there's a reason why he is batshit fucking crazy. I'm just gonna say there's something very traumatic happened to him that is causing him to be like this. I'm not saying justified,
but it's an explanation.
It is an explanation, and he's a sick fuck.
Yeah. I haven't even seen these episodes. I'm going off of just my own theories and what Dave is hinting at me about. Because even Dave ain't telling me, which is a little annoying, but at the same time, I appreciate it.
I don't want to ruin it.
I don't care about spoilers. I'm the last person who cares about spoilers.
It is
But Dave don't want to tell me.
It shocked me. It really did. I was just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I have an idea in my head from reading the comics what I think it is, but Dave is kind of not really confirming or denying what I'm thinking.
Referring to, remember a few episodes back when Jesse and his dad went to Kincannon?
Yeah, and I think we actually talked about this in that episode.
This is what I'm talking about. What that kid sees behind that door.
Young Jesse. And now is what young Jesse sees behind that door, that's what you're talking about is in the bad thing that happened to Kincannon? Because technically Kincannon would have been super young at that time too. Maybe about as old as Jesse is now.
No.
No? Younger?
No. I would say maybe like 15 years younger or so.
How old are you?
Because Jesse will say when he's a little kid in this show is like 10 years old. And I'm gonna
But he's got to be at least like
25.
You think Jesse's 25 right now?
I don't think he's in his 30s.
I damn well think he's in his 30s.
I think the actor himself, yes, Dominic Cooper, is probably close to 40 by now. But
I am not at all under the impression that Preacher is in his 20s.
I think Preacher and Tulip are both in their late 20s, at the best, early 30s.
Damn, dude. Like, okay, early 30s I'll give you, because even in the comics, I'm like, these dudes are in their 30s to mid-30s. Like, there's no way they're in their 20s.
So, and like somebody who is as old as Kincannon, 15, 20 years ain't gonna make, when you're still
going to be an older person.
You're still going to be an old man. You know,
because I would say maybe Kincannon was in his late 20s.
Kincannon was around the same age as Jesse's dad.
Okay, that makes sense. So
that's how I would put that.
Okay, that makes sense. So that would make Kincannon actually more like in his 60s now. Then.
Right, because he looks like an older man.
Because Jesse's dad did come off as like maybe late 30s,
maybe early 40s. You know, somewhere around that.
Yeah, I mean, he was still a young man.
I wouldn't take him as a young man.
He didn't have all them wrinkles.
He got like grayish in his hair too.
Yeah, I mean, like that shit happens.
He ate fucking Magneto and shit.
He ate Rogue.
Right. But I mean, I guess we can kind of end it there.
Yeah, I mean that was
a great episode.
Yeah, that's how it closed out. Is Kincannon on the bulldozer?
We know this crazy dude's going to try his best to get this church. So,
what do you think is the messed up thing that happened to Kincannon? If we're telling you that he prays to a meat god, which is what Dave is telling us.
No, he does.
Because I didn't see that episode yet, and honestly, reading the books, like, it's been a while since I read the comics, but I never thought he was worshiping a meat god. I got a different interpretation from it, but I'm not going to touch on that just yet until we actually see what's going on. Because I may be thinking of something completely different that's not actually being touched on.
I know for a fact. He says it in front of everybody in one of the episodes. I think it's the very last episode of season. He says it in front of everybody.
What, the bad thing that happened to him?
No, that he...
that he worships the meat god?
And he's all like, kind of like, right?
You're with me, right?
And everybody's like, oh,
what's a meat god?
But before we talk too much about
we're gonna start getting into some real drawling theories, and mine's gonna be all out the ass, and his is gonna be like half in truth, not trying to spoil anything.
Right. But
tell us what you think. Comment in general about the episode. Like, do you think Jesse put out Cassidy? I mean, that seems like a dumb question, but I feel it's worth asking. Do you think Eugene is actually going to come back? Do you think him calling down to the dirt, come back, is actually going to bring Eugene back? Because I'm curious. Like, I am baffled as to what's going to happen with Eugene.
You know what? Theoretically, if it sent him down there, why can't it bring him back?
Well, because he didn't actually hear it. And unless he's calling out to, like, the devil himself,
because
I don't see how calling out to Eugene is going to help. Now, if he said, "Devil, send Eugene back," I could understand Eugene coming back.
Well, it's not like Eugene got himself a shovel all of a sudden
and
when he told him to go to hell and just sitting there.
Just dug himself down. A portal opened and consumed him.
He was taken.
But yeah, like, subscribe, share. In general, tell us what you think. Do you like us talking about this? Do you like our theories and opinions? If you don't, too bad, because that's Mopo.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. So you can just go to one of the other people. We need your viewership, but we don't need your viewership if you're going to be all asinine about it.
Right. Mopo.
Yeah, it's all Mopo. It's all a matter of personal opinion. We appreciate yours as we hope you appreciate ours.
Right.
You know?
Thanks for listening.